Aside from the Disney Plus series, being a Moon Knight fan is the best. Coming off the constant cycle of broken trust and renewed disappointment in the Amazing Spider-Man series, just watch the Godzilla Mendoza video. Genuinely, those are just my feelings personified. I swear down. It's easy to adopt a very pessimistic view of ongoing comic books, like me. But jumping into Moon Knight was a welcome surprise because it's... Yeah, I know. Everyone says peak, but for real though, Moon Knight has quickly become one of my favorite characters to read, and that's kind of thanks to his obscurity. Now this isn't a new point because, again, Xavier already said it, but before the show, Moon Knight was a character that people knew of, but the majority of comic readers were like, you know, like him not being mainstream, or if I'm being honest, anyone's favorite hero, meant that writers and creative teams could do whatever the flip they like with Moon Knight. The status quo isn't as important to Moon Knight as it is to other characters.
Who the hell are you supposed to be?
Black Spectre.
Let me tell you a thing about Black Spectre. He really just wanted to be loved. He wanted his dad and his wife to love him, wanted his crew to love him, wanted the whole city to love him. I don't know you. Let me tell you a thing about me. People who love me suffer and die. I never want to be loved. That's why I always win.
Moon Knight has jumped from an Indiana Jones type to a Web of Secrets type with his alters, then developing DID and becoming the relentlessly tormented type. While characters like Wolverine can easily be divided into multiple eras as well, it's difficult to sell that after the decades of storytelling, there have been not many positive changes that weren't undone soon after. Moon Knight's 2014 run by Warren Ellis is an anthology-style crime book, where in every issue, Moon Knight is faced with a standalone villain or unique set of circumstances that threatens the travelers of the night, those of whom he's devoted his life to protecting. Each issue evokes this Netflix-esque feel, with the pacing and panel choices at the beginning of each issue feeling like an opening scene with the use of the Moon Knight title card. Ellis's Moon Knight is very X-Files, but instead the main character is the foreign unstoppable force. Ellis pins Moon Knight against a mangled Frankenstein-esque soldier who kidnaps and steals the body parts of unsuspecting fit people and athletes, a gang of punk ghosts that terrorize their place of death, and as Ellis would put it, a visual curveball for issue 4. In the 2006 run by Charlie Huston, set much before the Ellis Run, shows Moon Knight at his lowest and is depicted as an unstable, disheveled loner and lunatic who is the embodiment of a plane crash, captivating by spectacle, but horrifying. Mark seeks refuge at the statue of Khonshu in his empty mansion as he's severely injured, heavily medicated, and unable to walk without assistance. The run is intense, violent, and noir in style, as the first few issues are spent with Mark reliving his past when he was once filled with purpose, as opposed to his current state, wallowing in worthlessness. In issue 2, we witness the recent fight with Bushman, where Moon Knight's viciousness and depraved thoughts are on full display as they culminate in the infamous face removal scene. This taking place early on lets us know the kind of man Mark Spector is, and how Khonshu's crusade forced on Mark allows him to give in to all of his dark impulses for what his god perceives as the greater good. Mark's fragile mental state in this run often leads him to have no restraint on the violence he dishes out when he's Moon Knight. Charlie Huston also depicts Khonshu as a cruel, sadistic god, urging Mark further down a path that glorifies wrath and vengeance. He first appears to us in the book as a faceless imitation of Bushman to disturb Mark. Khonshu truly embodies a dark god who keeps his followers spiritually destitute and dependent. Mark obsesses over the burdensome purpose of protecting the travelers of the night and spreading his name.
I'm a god. I don't fade. I fight. I fight dirty.
Mark Spector's slavish devotion to Khonshu results in every aspect of Moon Knight's character acting as a tribute to the vengeful god, and has Moon Knight cross from believer to acting as Khonshu's emissary. Jeff Lemire's Run on Moon Knight is a trippy psychedelic evaluation-style breakdown of Mark Spector and his relationship with his condition DID and his pattern of dipping in and out of psychosis. Jeff Lemire takes what Warren Ellis established and elevates it to new levels, while also using the book to explore dissociative identity disorder and how mental health was more taboo and the institutions were more similar to prisons than hospitals. The run begins with Mark being trapped in a mental asylum and told his adventures as Moon Knight are false. They reveal to him that he's been a patient there since childhood, supported by the idea that his supporting cast in every run are just patients at the facility inserted into his fantasies. Every issue of the run makes you question whether anything on the page is truly happening, and would have any reader feel skeptical and disturbed, yet desperately wanting to believe Mark. Jeff tackles the apparent mental illness of the character uniquely, wrapped in metaphors and treating the topic with reverence, but never in a way that becomes overtly preachy or pharisaical. The alters, Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley, were adopted by Mark's mind to help him cope with the horrors he experienced in his early life. No different to how alters surface in real life. Jake Lockley being the charismatic, personable, affable dirtbag, and Stephen Grant being the charming, polite, and sophisticated versions that Mark's mind creates. It's revealed that as a child, Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley first appeared to Mark as his imaginary friends, and as his condition further developed, his father sent him to many institutions to help Mark get a handle on his personalities. We also see Khonshu make his presence known in Mark's early life, though it's unclear here whether it's truly him or his mind creating this image to handle the thought of his father shipping him away. During times of high stress in Mark's life, the alters surface to protect him when he's unable to handle the tragedy and difficulties of his life. But Khonshu also rears his head to pursue him when he's at his most vulnerable. As the run continues, Mark and his alters come to accept and understand one another, and despite Mark's insistence on facing his battles alone, it's clear he's more complete as a person when he embraces his alters. The run delves into the alters as well, and as we explore their individual perceptions of reality, the walls between them become harder to distinguish. The three eventually stop battling each other's lives to use their different aspects to help Mark carve a path to being whole. This culminates in the climax of the story, where they all face Khonshu and reject the god, with Mark, Stephen, and Jake proudly declaring, "We never needed you," finally silencing the voice of the insatiable.
Do not bring food into my car. You knew Dr. Peter Al-Raun, Dr. Skelton?
I did. I know he worked with you before his death. I contacted Detective Flint. The newspaper said you speak to him.
And he arranged this meeting. Yes. How can I help?
I work in sleep research. Peter was something of a mentor to me.
You're not continuing all his work, I hope. There were reasons why we knew each other, and those reasons contributed to his death.
I know you and Peter dealt with neurological attack during sleep. I don't see how it can be the same thing, but...
What we dealt with was a man called Robert Markham, who had a viral infection that caused him genetic issues. Peter gave him an experimental treatment that reacted with the infection and caused some kind of mutation. You have to remember, there was a time where things like this weren't controlled the way they are today, and mutants popped up on pretty much a daily basis in New York.
All of my patients are having the same dream. That's not even possible, and it's driving them insane by inches. Now, I'm hoping Peter gave you some special insight into dream attack because...
What kind of sleep research, Dr. Skelton?
Sleep is a process that allows the brain to remove toxins from its tissue via the lymphatic system. We are studying the dream state in relation to neurotoxic load, protein activation, and lymphatic processing. I wouldn't expect you to know what any of that means.
Let me see your facility. Let me see your patients.
Look, Peter never exactly disclosed what you did together, but I know you're not precisely qualified to study somnological subjects.
I am precisely qualified. Dreamers are people who travel at night. That is my specialist subject.
The Jed Mackay Run dives nose first into addressing Mark's unresolved and unaddressed feelings about himself and the choices he's made. We're introduced as Mark as a fully realized Mr. Knight, with having people in his territory come to him with issues that face the city, and him taking on any threats that compromises his mission. The Midnight Mission. Mark is now well composed and oddly reassuring after everything he's gone through and lost. We see him continue to act on the streets in issue 1 as he frees kidnapped victims from vampire cultists, and after killing the cultist kidnappers, it is revealed that the newly freed captives have already been turned into vampires themselves. And Moon Knight spares them. He goes on to talk about how, despite them being vampires now, they are still innocent and fall under his protection. And this series sits with Mark as he's been asked to question his purpose, intentions, and results. The first 15 issues of Jed Mackay's Run introduce Dr. Andrea Sturman, a licensed superhero therapist who evaluates Mark to help him assess his actions after his current relapse in the Age of Khonshu storyline. Mark's relationship with Khonshu has evolved and looked different over different runs, but one thing remains consistent. Khonshu is a god unworthy of worship, and yet he's still in a position to command Mark's hand.
And when I was asked by my god to take down the Avengers and put my boot on the world's neck, I did it. And I did it well, because that's what I've always done.
Mark has been forced to address his self-hatred and address that his servitude under Khonshu directly spits in the face of his heritage as a marine, as a mercenary, but even as Moon Knight. He comes to understand that being reborn in service to Khonshu led to Mark furthering his own addiction to violence and pain. A benevolent god baptizes with water and offers their own blood as sacrifice, whereas Khonshu baptizes with death and demands blood. The crusade led by Khonshu and waged by Mark resulted in everyone in his life dying or hating him for what being a part of his life did to them. This run of Moon Knight has him as an organized protector, and Mark embodies Khonshu's more positive aspects in service of the defenseless, while still very much dispensing his brand of violence.
What are you supposed to be?
The one you see coming.
With the Midnight Mission's door open to the public, Mark as Moon Knight feels unable to shake feelings of shame and regret, and uses that to strengthen his resolve to protect and help people. And Mark's theme of redemption echoes throughout every issue, and his desire to atone is made clear and felt by every character. The run truly celebrates every Moon Knight run and story while stringing them together to tell a story about a man trying to climb out of the recess of his questionable past and show people that he can be relied on, that he can be trusted, that he can be loved. Moon Knight before this run was seen as the insane, unstable, violent, demented loner who basked in the dark glow of Khonshu. Even as he operates of his own volition, Mark uses his reputation and infamy to deter criminals and rogues.
Hello.
Get lost.
I confiscated this from a man in Egypt who tried to take someone away from me. I was quite upset with him. I'm told he still passes shards of his own ribcage when he goes to the bathroom. Now then, you've taken someone away from their home. I'm not interested in the politics of crime families, so don't even try to justify it. You took someone who was traveling at night on their way from a school event. You don't do that in New York City. How many people are holding that person in there?
A dozen, maybe more.
Where's your abductee?
5th floor.
Of a 6th floor building. I presume your friends are pretty much spread out?
I guess.
All right then. May as well go through the front door.
But in Jed Mackay's run, he works his way to shed the infamy, build a life, and fill that life with people who understand.
I don't want to be the guy everyone thought I was anymore.
The 2021 ongoing series was the first Moon Knight story I got invested in and followed. Moon Knight was so interesting to me because he was almost as lethal as the Punisher, as infamous as Deadpool, had run-ins with tons of heroes but was estranged and not embraced by any of the heroes of the wider Marvel universe. He was on his own. The reason I love Moon Knight so much is that he was subjected to horrible things and then did heinous things to others. He's someone who made the wrong choice every time. The people closest to him have suffered, and anybody foolish enough to have stood by him is left regretting supporting him. Because to stand with Moon Knight is just as bad as standing against him. He's a bullet, a 45 ACP hollow point, the kind of bullet that gets turned inside out and disfigured on the way out. That is to say that he comes at people with no regard for what it will do to him, and he's overly effective at making sure anyone who goes at him never does again, unless they're completely insane to take on a man without a rogues gallery. And despite how often he says, "I never wanted to be loved. I was a fool to think I could have people," it's all a ruse that he's constructed to protect others from him, and to protect himself from accepting the fact that he drove everyone who loved him away. I love the character because he wants to get better. When I first read this series, I didn't expect it to speak to me in the way that it did, because I know what it's like to feel like you're lacking a capacity shared by everyone around you, because I know what it's like to feel unwanted. In the issue where Moon Knight speaks to his therapist about why he's so unhappy, he speaks about being Jewish, and I speak about it in the video, but he's an Israelite who follows an Egyptian god. My father's God took us out of Egypt. My new God had kept us there. I didn't expect to read something like that. I didn't expect Mark to truly understand the struggle of, keeping the faith sometimes. To understand a God I've never seen, never heard, in favor of a God who spoke right to me. Join me, my son, and together we will get things done. I read that and thought, no wonder Mark chose Khonshu. When Mark spoke to the House of Shadows, this alien being from beyond space-time, it wasn't like he was speaking to a creature. He was speaking to something that's never felt welcome. That was alien. He said, "I know what it's like to feel unwanted. I know what it's like not to fit in. And we just keep coming back, whether or not anyone wants us to. I know what it's like to run away from the person you see in the mirror. I know what it's like to hide from that person. And I know what it's like to have made the wrong choice over and over and over again. To feel like at every chance you've been given in life, you made the wrong choice." But every time he put his safety on the line, sacrificing his body, mind, and life so others wouldn't be at risk, was selfless, noble, and wasn't a mistake. His increased capacity for mercy and empathy wasn't a mistake. Building the Midnight Mission, a safe haven for those under his protection, wasn't a mistake either. Mark will go to oblivion and back because of his unshakable sense of duty to ensure that innocents, travelers of the night, and those he loves are safe. And that wasn't a mistake either. Insane? Maybe. But that's what makes him special. "I'm pretty sure my gun has a better reach than your bat."
But I love this bat, and you owe me a truncheon. And you can't kill me. You could kill her, it's true, but what saves your life after she's dead? Everyone already thinks the kid's dead. That loss is accepted. Have you accepted yours? Are you ready to die today? You could use that gun on her now, but she's the only thing keeping you alive. Make your call. Hello, Scarlet. I guess I must look pretty weird.
Yeah.
My name's Mr. Knight. The police will be here to pick you up in a little bit. You can tell them you met me.
Your face.
It's a mask. Did they hurt you at all?
No, they just carried me places. It's not a mask. It's your face.
Smart kid. Driver, anonymized calling system. Leave a message for Detective Flint giving this location. Drone, predator mode, this location. Mantle. Listen, where you're going, tell everyone you meet. You tell them all. When you see me coming, run.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully, if you got it to this point, you enjoyed it. I hope so. This video took a really long time to make. Big thanks to the Russian comic book geek. I've been watching your videos for so long. I had to use your voice in the video because, like, to me, you are definitive Moon Knight. So I want to thank Godzilla Mendoza. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have even thought to read Moon Knight. So I mean, you can even tell with the video, it took me about halfway through making this to realize, damn, Xavier did it first. And I want to give the biggest thanks to Thomas Plott. He's the voice actor I found for Moon Knight. He knocked everything out the park. Genuinely, I didn't know I was going to get a Moon Knight voice this good until I heard his voice. He was one of the best people to work with. I'm new with voice actors and stuff. Thank you for being really reasonable with me. I also want to thank Ethan Sumnlers. He was the voice of the Crook in the video. I really appreciate you, man. You nailed your lines perfectly first take. Emailing you guys was so nice because a lot of you guys were really cooperative with me. I appreciate you guys again. His link will also be in the description. And I also want to say thank you to Jack Verhage. He was the voice for Dr. Skelton in the video. Awesome. He nailed all these lines too. Hit them right out of the park. So yeah, I want to thank him. I found all of these guys on Casting Call Club. Again, link in the description, maybe in the pinned comment. I don't really care anymore. I also want to say thank you to Flipthedestroyer. He's someone I know personally, and he helped me out with one of the lines for one of the other characters. And I want to say, even though I made this video isn't a substitute. I still recommend you read the runs. I promise you'll enjoy it. I can promise that. I didn't talk about the Bendis run because I don't care about it. I plan to make much more videos, just full on motion comics, not me talking, just full on adaptations of books. But until then, I don't really have like a fancy name or internet persona. I'd rather you just call me. Hopefully, I do more Moon Knight stuff. If you guys want to see me do more Moon Knight stuff. Actually, I don't care. I'm gonna do more Moon Knight stuff. You don't really get a say in that one. I don't know why.